Hey, happy Monday. Hope everybody's having a great Monday and everybody had a great, wonderful new year. Give me a quick second here. I have to mute I track the podcast on my iPhone so I can answer any questions and throw some questions out there. But I hope everybody's doing great. Big shout out to Lynn. Today is her birthday, so she won't be on the show today. She's actually in the chair getting her hair done. So, hey, Lynn, happy birthday. Hope you have a great day and we look forward to you being on the show next week. As you can see, we got a new design coming up. We're just playing with some AI stuff to make things a little bit different because, season 5, you have to change it up some. So things got to be a little bit different. I'm super excited. Of course, I got Bull here with me. He's going to be doing a lot more stuff. We got a lot more guests. But before I jump into all of that, you got the QR codes. I'm going to talk about them real quick. So you have the QR code in the upper left corner for 2025 for Reads Across America. They do a great job memorializing, the veterans there at the veteran cemeteries all across the United States. Of course, mine is Arlington, Virginia. And so you can donate as little as $5, $10 to ensure that wreath is on there for next year. And it is tax deductible. And it's a really great program. And I'm super happy to be part of them. Along with that, as you know, Reads Across America Radio replays my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. And that's super easy to find. You just download the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app, or the Odyssey app and search for Reads Across America Radio for not only my great podcast, but also all the great podcasts they have. And they play a lot of great music on there. And you guys know, because I talk about 10th Mountain all the time, I really need to get 10th Mountain out here in Italy so we can go do a show at kind of. That'd be so much fun. But their whiskey and spirits, their bourbon is I was not a bourbon drinker. I'm going to confess, I wasn't. I was a Scotch drinker. And I tell you what, 10th Mountain has actually got me to drink a little bit less Scotch and more of their bourbon. I'm quite surprised by that. And so, hey, give them a try if you can, and we'll throw the QR code up there in the show, or you can just Google 10th Mountain and spirits, and it'll come up. But you got the Veterans to Mortgage under that QR code in the lower left. Now, this is kind of important because today they just certified the election, so Donald J. Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. And if anybody remembered what these last 4 years were like, interest rates came down on home mortgages. And so I'm assuming, it's a safe assumption, that may occur again. So you may want to look at purchasing a house. You may want to look at refinancing the house you have, or you just may have questions in general about your VA loan, or VA questions about your VA loan. So, give them a shout out, scan that QR code to be more than happy to help you. But hey, maybe you're living somewhere you don't want to live anymore. Maybe you're getting out of the military. Maybe you're getting ready to PCS. I moved to Italy last year, loving it. May not come back to the States. I don't know. Maybe I'll buy a vacation home. Who knows? But you can click on that QR code and they'll answer all your questions at PCS Paradise. Maybe you want to move to a different country. Maybe you want to have a vacation home somewhere else. Or just move to a completely different state where it's a little bit warmer. And shout out to all the people all across the middle of the states, to include Virginia, that have had all the great snow. I can say right now in Italy, I am marked safe from snow. It was 61 degrees today. Chilly 61 degrees today. No, I'm just joking. It wasn't. But hey, if you check in the chat right there on Facebook, 10thwhiskey.com, use the VR code. Use the code VTT and you can save 10% on your order. Now, caveat to that, you have to have somebody 21 years or older at your house when they do deliver it, because they will require a signature to deliver all alcohol, and just ensure that they deliver to your states, because I think there are some states that they don't deliver to. So with all that, let's jump into the show. So, as you guys know, I always come up with a theme. Every year, I started this maybe 2 years after a good friend of mine, Amy, was on the show, and she always came up with a theme for each year. And I was thinking about, what would be a good theme? Last year was Be a Warrior, was the theme for season 4. And I was thinking about what would be a good one for this year. And really, to me, it was just do you. And I think that's what this year's ought to be just about, just to do you. We get so wrapped up in helping people and doing other things that sometimes we forget about ourselves. And I think it's okay to want to help yourself, or, better yourself, or do something different. And I think that's okay. And I think sometimes we forget that. But before I jump into all of that, I got one more thing to say, because I just forgot about it. And I apologize if I pronounce this incorrectly, because it's a holiday that's new to me, but not new to my Italian friends, my Italiano friends. So actually, January 6th, if you don't know, and I posted this on my social media page, is the Bona FFMEA Day. And so that's what today is. I showed it real quick. So what does that mean? What is that? So apparently on this day, there is a witch who comes on a broom, and if you've been a good boy or girl, she will bring a stocking full of candy or presents. It can be presents. And then if you've been bad, she gives you coal. I don't know, with heating costs in Britain, maybe some people were bad so they could help heat their homes or whatever. I'm just joking. But anyway, so January 6th is typically that day. So this is what they're celebrating today in Italy. So happy Bona Epifania Day. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. So that is today, January 6th. And so I know a lot of my family and a lot of my friends who are now my family are celebrating that today along with their children. And I hope everybody had a great time and nobody got any coal in their stockings because we don't want that to go on. But with that, I'll jump back into what I was talking to. This is, 2025. It's going to be a great year. I just have that feeling. I've been posting a lot of different things. I do my mental health breaks a little bit different. And just how how you look at mental health. I'm going to really dive into a lot of things that I haven't talked about before this year. I think it's very important going into season 5. And really as we transition, right? So January is kind of a downer month, right? You have to agree with me on that. It's kind of a downer month. Now, Cliff, why do you say is January a downer month? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Bull. Why is January downer month? I'm going to tell you why. Because guess what? You had Thanksgiving, then you rolled into Christmas, and you had all your families around, you had all your friends, you had parties going to, and then January hits. What's going on in January? Snow if you're in Virginia, snow if you're in Missouri. It's cold, it's dreary, not a lot going on, not a lot to celebrate. And so, really, January can kind of be a downer month because now maybe you traveled a lot in November, maybe you traveled a lot in December, maybe you overspent your budget a little bit for Christmas, and now all those bills are starting to roll in. And it can be a little depressing, it can be a little taxing. And so my suggestion is if that is you, if you did spend a little bit or if you did kind of overdo it, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Formulate a plan, write down, what you spent, how much you spent, this is basic, basic stuff, and just come up with a plan to knock out the little stuff and then keep working your way up. How I always do it is I knock out the little stuff and then move on to the bigger stuff until I get knocked out. And you know what? If you're short on money, maybe you don't need that Starbucks every day. Or maybe you don't need to buy a fancy drink, or maybe instead of going out to eat for lunch, you bring your lunch, for a couple of weeks or months from home. And that'll save you a lot of money. Because I know when I worked in Virginia at the Pentagon, that if you ate out roughly if you ate out every day for lunch, you could easily spend $200 a week, almost $1,000 a month eating out. And even if you didn't do it all the time, you could at least spend easy $100, $400 a month just eating lunch out there. And so it can become very expensive. And so I always made sure to bring my lunch every day. Now, some days I would go out because, the work, we'd go out as friends or whatever. But there's ways that you can cut costs that doesn't really change a whole lot. And that will make things easier in the long run, just by cutting those little costs to help you pay your bills off so you're not so stressed out. And, one thing I talked about on my Facebook Live video I did today while I was out running, because I got back in running, and I apologize if my voice is a little bit different. I am struggling with, I think I'm starting to get an ear infection or something, but it's a little bit better now. I've been doing my holistic medicine for it. But my throat's a little scratchy still. But one thing I talked about, when I was talking about season 5 and just do you is New Year's resolution. Now, I'm going to talk about that for a minute because although there's nothing wrong with New Year's resolutions, I am way anti New Year's resolution. Now, why is that? Well, why am I anti New Year's resolution? Well, it's you can overdo it and set yourself up for failure. Yeah, that's right, Bull. You sure can. And what do we mean by that? Well, so if your goal was my New Year's resolution, I'm going to go to the gym every day and I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And your only plan is to go to the gym. Well, you go to the gym, you haven't been to the gym in 20 years, 15 years, I don't care, 5 years, whatever it is, and you don't really know your body anymore because your body changes over time. I ran into this when I was a personal trainer. I was a personal trainer for a lot of years, and January was always a very busy month. But I always caution people about starting out slow. You go to the gym, don't start out lifting weights if you haven't lifted weights for a long time. Go to the cardio room, do 15 minutes on the treadmill, maybe 15 minutes on the Stairmaster or the elliptical or whatever your preference is, the bike, but start out very slow. And just realize that if your goal is to lose weight, hey Brian, how you doing today? If your goal is to lose weight, stay out of the weight room. Why do I say that? Because muscle weighs more than fat. And so I've noticed this for a lot of people when they start working out and their goal is to lose weight, but they go in the cardio room, they warm up for a little bit, and then they go in the weight room, and then they don't see the scale moving or the scale starts going up, and they get very depressed about that, and they stop coming into the gym. And so I always tell people, hey, let's work on your weight loss. Let's look at your diet. Let's get a diary together. Let's write down what you're eating. Let's see where we can make small changes. Because I always made small changes. I never made big changes, even with their diet. And let's get down to the weight you want, and then we can start working on an exercise program to tone you up. And so, it took you just so many years to get out of shape. It's going to take you so many years to get back into shape. And that's very important for your mental health, because if your goal is to lose weight to feel better about yourself, I want you to be successful about that because I know how important that is for your mental health. And so it's very important to realize the mechanics of not only how to properly lose weight, but also how to properly work out so you don't injure yourself and so it doesn't give you so many setbacks that you stop going to the gym. And because you always see it, right? It's, I'm going to go do this, and you jump into it. And I've seen it a million times, and I tell people, you don't need to slow down. You need to, oh, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do blah, 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 and then 2 days later, 3 days later, they come in the gym, they can't walk, and then they don't come in the gym at all because they're too sore, and they just quit. They just decide not to do that, And if you don't have the money for the gym, you don't have to go to the gym to work out. There's many things you can do at home. You can go for a walk in the evening. It's very good to go for a walk at least 15 minutes after you eat. It helps with digestion and other stuff. So that's something easy you can do. You can if you have a lunch hour at work or maybe 30 minutes at work, you can go outside and walk for 15 minutes or skip lunch or whatever. One thing I do is I do intermittent fasting. I do that quite often. I did it today. I did a long fast today because I was feeling kind of sick. And so when I start feeling that way, I do a long fast, and usually it goes away very quickly. So today I didn't really eat anything for I think it was about 20 hours before I finally ate something. To get that long fast in. And of course, I work out. And so when you work out, when you're doing intermittent fasting, you can say that basically, even though I did a hard 19-hour fast today, almost 20-hour fast, that when you work out, really I did closer to a 24-hour fast. So when you work out, because you're obviously burning more calories, and your body's going to look to get rid of those abnormal cells as you do that. And so I would encourage anybody who's over the age of 40, who maybe has some belly fat, and you can't get rid of it no matter how much you work out, look into intermittent fasting. And if you're true with it, and if you practice it, it becomes very easy. And basically, the premise of intermittent fasting, and this is important for your mental health too, is, like for me, I grew up on a farm, and we really didn't eat breakfast because we get up, we tend to the animals, we do our chores, we go to school. And usually by the time I ate, it was usually lunchtime. And so when I was in my 40s, and no matter how much I ran, no matter how much I worked out, I just always had the belly fat, and I couldn't get rid of it. And there's many other factors that play into that, and I'll talk about that a little bit more because I think this is important, right? It's about your New Year's resolution and not setting yourself up for failure, because we don't want to do that. We want to kick off 2025 right off the bat, right on this mark, and we want to be smart about it, right? And so if your goal is to lose weight, this is what I'm talking about right now for those who just tuned in, is going to the gym is perfectly fine. I would say if your gym offers you a personal trainer, please talk with him, but come up with a plan and do it slowly. And if you don't have the money to the gym, or maybe you overspent for Christmas or the holidays or whatever, you can do workouts at home. And that's what I'm talking about now. And I'm talking about intermittent fasting because it's the easiest thing you can do. And also it saves you money because you eat less. And so with intermittent fasting, along with any diet program or anything you do, please always consult your you can please consult with your physician beforehand. Yeah, I turned 40 this year. It's pretty amazing. Uh, but the purpose of intermittent fasting is pick 16 hours a day straight that you're not going to eat, and that includes sleeping time. And so, like for me, to skip breakfast and not eat until the afternoon works fine. And so I normally have my last meal roughly 6, 7 o'clock here in Italy, sometimes a little bit later. And generally, I don't eat again until 1 o'clock in the afternoon the following day. Or if I'm doing a longer fast, I'll actually go 24 hours and not eat anything until dinner that night. And so, what does intermittent fasting does? And so, what that does is it causes your bodies to start burning all the internal fat that you have for energy. But also, if you have any abnormal cells in your body at the age at your age, you'll have to wake up at 5 a.m. to test it out. No, actually, I don't, but that's funny. Actually, oatmeal's bad for you. But anyway, you just pick 16 hours a day that you don't eat, and it's very important. But once you hit the 17-hour mark of fasting, and Nick, you might want to look into this because you're getting old, and I saw your last video, is at 17 hours, your body, I forget what the technical term of it, medical term, but basically it starts eating abnormal cells. And so with that, it helps you if you start, the old saying was, starve a cold and feed a fever. You actually start feeling better if you're kind of sick and you start doing that fasting because it starts taking away all those sick cells. So that's very important to you. So that's one thing you can look into. It doesn't cost you any money. That actually will save you money. And so you can look at a 16-hour fast or 12-hour fast or whatever works for you and whatever works for your body because everybody's body is different. I turned 55 this year. Yes, Nick, I'm 15 years older than 40. But I'm in good shape for my age. I can go run 10 miles. I go to the gym. I do Pilates. So I do a lot of things to keep myself in physical condition because it's important, right? And as you get older, working out becomes important because your muscles don't know age. They don't know age. Look at RFK Jr. That guy's in his 70s and that guy is ripped, you know. What they do know is atrophy and not working out. And so you have to constantly work your muscles, and it becomes very important as you get older, along with all of your certain making sure you're getting all the proper nutrients in, not only for you, but also for your body type, because everybody's different. So be sure to look at your family history, be sure to look at your body type. You guys know I'm big in holistic medicine. I religiously take my lemon juice in the morning. That's the first thing I drink when I wake up. I squeeze a fresh lemon in water, warm water, and I drink it because that immediately cleanses your liver. If you're hungover and you wake up the next morning and you drink lemon water, I guarantee you'll start feeling better. And then, if for a lot of you guys don't know this, the lemon seeds has the same properties as ibuprofen as a painkiller. And so, if I'm a little bit of pain, I'll take about 6 seeds. I put them in a glass of water, make sure they sink because if they float, they don't have anything inside. Uh, I chew the seeds. They don't taste real great, but I chew it and then I swallow them. And that helps with pain management. And it's a natural way to help with pain management. I don't eat a lot of fish. I'm not a big fish eater. And so I take 2 tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil every day, because that's the same as having a Mediterranean diet. And along with that, I do half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now, why do I take cayenne pepper? And you guys heard me talk about cayenne pepper before. Cayenne pepper is a blood stimulant and it actually heals the blood. And it will help if you had any microbleeding going on in your vessels. It will help with, clearing out cholesterol issues and all kinds of things. You can do your own research on cayenne pepper. And it's amazing herb that you can have. It burns a little bit when you drink it, but it goes away very quickly. And it really helps you a lot. And, it's very important, and keep this in mind, that if your liver's functioning properly, if your stomach acid is the way it's supposed to be, that you will have a hard time becoming sick because your body is designed to destroy all that. Just remember, your body doesn't do anything that's bad for itself. It constantly wants to heal itself. We just have to give it the tools. Now, you can say what you want, but in the United States, there's a lot of things they put in the food that shouldn't be in the food. That's why I always shopped organic or grew my own food, because I knew about the chemicals they put in the food, and I didn't agree with that, and the effects that it have on our children, and the effects that it has on your body. A lot of that stuff here in Italy is actually, as you guys know, you come to Italy, eat a lot of pastas, eat a lot of breads, and you don't have that issue. You don't have the bloating issue. You don't have the gluten issue. The milk I buy here at the store is it's not even refrigerated. It's on the shelf, and you open it and then you put it in the refrigerator, but still it lasts 3 months. I'll buy lettuce that's never been refrigerated, and it can sit on my counter for 2 weeks and never go bad. Why is that? I buy grapefruits and I'll have them in my house for a month and they won't go bad and they're still good. And so, why is it that I can get the fresh produce here that lasts a long time without the stupid chemicals on it, but you can't get it in the States? But I think that's going to change with new administration, and I hope to God it does, because that's absolutely ridiculous. And if it upsets some people with that, well, you can just screw off. I don't care, because it's important. That health is important, and it also affects your mental health. Because if you're not feeling good inside, how can you feel good in your head if your body's not feeling good? Everything works in conjunction with itself, and it's so very important. And one thing I always talk about, if you're older too, like Nick, and you're kind of getting kind of stiff and can't get moved around and stuff, look into doing yoga. You do yoga online. You guys know I did a lot of yoga for a lot of years, not a lot of years, but a year and a half, 2 years. I switched to Pilates here, but that really helps with your mobility. It helps with your stretching and strengthening. And I tell you what, yoga had an absolute phenomenal change on my life. I had Chris on my show. He's a very popular yoga person. Hopefully, getting back on the show. It's amazing. It's amazing the effects that yoga has on your life. And as a man who kind of teased about yoga and joked about yoga and didn't really understand yoga, I had to really uh, eat my words on it, because of the effects that it had on me, not only on my physical being, but also on my mental being. And that's so very important. And so look into that. If you're an older gentleman, a veteran, look into doing yoga, because it will have a profound effect on you, both mentally, physically, and spiritually. And hey, it's okay if you, like me, I went in the mornings and it was all the stay at home moms, and I was kind of embarrassed. So I just always stayed in the back of the room, or I didn't even go to the back room. I was in front of the line, because I didn't want to have the girls think I was looking at them. So I was only looking at the instructor, because I was in front of the line. I figured, well, if they're laughing at me in the back, I wouldn't know, because, I'm pretty sure they laughed at me for a while, but it's a lot of fun. Uh, oh, okay. I didn't know that. So thanks for the big tip out there. Big Earl just said that the VAs out there have added yoga. So that might be something if you are a disabled veteran, or if you're a part of the VA system. Look into that. So they may offer some type of yoga classes, or at least a voucher to go and take yoga. So that's really great to know. I didn't know that. Of course, being out here in Italy, I kind of lose touch with everything going on with the VA, because obviously out here I'm under TRICARE Prime, so I don't go to the VA for anything. At this moment, I am registered for the VA. But along with that, let's talk about the VA for a second. So if you're a veteran, if you are serving, you're currently getting out, be sure to make sure you go out and get your VA rating. I know, Nick, you can throw it in the chat, because I don't remember the gentleman that was on the show that I was on about maybe a month and a half ago, that helps with the VA ratings for veterans who maybe not be affiliated with the state. If you served in the military, and I don't care if you served 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, like me, 34 years, the military has a they already pay for whatever VA benefits you get, but you need to go file for VA benefits. Please look at getting a VSO before you do it, or using another organization that does it for free. It's very important to get that VA rating. To go out, because you deserve it and you earned it, and that's so very important. So even if you get a rating of 0, Johnny Perez, that's who it was. Even if you get a VA rating at 0, there's still some benefits associated with that. So please take the time to go out and do it. I know it can be a stressful time, for a lot of veterans to go through that process, but it's so very important to do it. And it's something that you deserve. And please don't look at, for me, when I was doing my VA disability stuff, I was like, well, I'm not disabled. I can still I'm still do stuff, but it's not the same. It's not the same, as Social Security disabled. It's not the same as what you're thinking in your mind. It's something completely different. I wish they would change the name something different from VA disability, because it's not really a disability. But it is what it is and what you work. So please don't look at it that way. For your mental health, just know it's something that you earned being in the service. Military duty is very hard. It's very hard on your body. It's very hard on your mind. And just look into it and go out there and get your VA rating. And if you don't, yeah, there you go. He put the link out there. Nick, thanks for that. Putting Johnny Perez out there. Click on that link and just ask him some questions. I'd be more than happy to help with you. You can go back and look at the episode on Veterans Trash Talk when he was on there. He had a lot of great information about it. And I don't care if you've been out of the service 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. Go in and file for your VA benefits. Now, I'm gonna say something real quick. You can go online and you can file for your VA benefits. There's a precautionary measure with that, but they don't tell you though is if you go online and you register to file for your VA benefits and you put all your issues and problems in there, and the rating comes back lower or they don't give you a rating. If you went through a VSO or an organization like Johnny Perez, and obviously they're going to argue with them to get that rating what it should be, because usually they come back pretty low. If you didn't do that and they came back lower, there's nothing you can do about it. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's very hard and you have to hire attorneys and it turns into a big fight. So, if you're looking at doing VA benefits for the first time or you haven't done them, please talk to a veteran service officer, VSO, or an organization like Johnny Perez has, and talk to them and kind of let them guide you through the steps, because it's a mistake that sometimes, veterans make because you don't know what you don't know, right? And if you have any questions at all, you can always go out to the Veterans Trash Talk Facebook page. You can throw the question out there, and I guarantee they got like 140,000 followers. Somebody out there will give you advice and help you out on anything that you have going on, whether it's with VA stuff or mortgage stuff or wanting to order, 10th Mountain Bourbon, anything out there. If you throw it out there on the VTT Facebook page, somebody out there is going to answer you, and somebody out there is going to give you an answer. And then if you're having a bad day and things aren't going right, and it's 2:00 in the morning, and you didn't have anybody to talk to, and you want to get something off your chest, I'm telling you right now, somebody's always on VTT 24/7. There's somebody on there, and I know the moderators, they do a great job, and they really help anybody out there who's in need with any services or anything that you might need, or you just may want to talk to some veterans who like-minded, like me and Lynn and Nick and everybody involved with VTT, and all the followers out there are all veterans. And everybody's gonna have a conversation. Who knows, you might run into an old Army buddy or find an old Army buddy you lost contact with. So please put that as one of your resources, because it's so very important to have so many resources now, because it's just like I talk about when I had the co-founder of EarKick on a couple of weeks ago. Karen is, I love the EarKick app. It's a great mental health app. And, it's just another tool you can have in your toolbox to kind of help you when you're going through a rough time, right? Because just like I said earlier on the podcast, it is January, and January and February is kind of a gloomy month. And so you got a lot of things going on. And so it's always good to have that little something there to help you get through the day and help you get through those times. Because you know what? Guess what? Does bad things always show up when good things are happening? Uh, does that happen? No, it doesn't happen that way. It always happens when bad things are happening, or it's a cumulative effect of stuff, right? So, you get up in the morning and maybe you left the car lights on at your car, and now your car is dead, and you got up late and you're late for work, and now you got to try to jump your car, or walk to work, or find somebody to give you a jump or something, and then you get to work and now you're late and you missed a meeting. Now the boss is on your ass, and you got all this other stuff. And so it's just always a cumulative effect. And then you have to learn how to break that cycle. And the same way with your thoughts, right? And so you're sitting in a dark room, you've had a crappy butt day, and your mind starts taking you down those dark roads, right? And you start thinking about stuff, or maybe it's an anniversary or something that happened that was bad to you. Like for me, it's 9/11 or October 3rd. your PTSD starts creeping up there. It's always in the background. They always talked about the sniper back there or the old little guy back there, and he's always going to come forward. He ain't going to do it when things are good. He's going to creep in your mind when things are bad. And then how do you stop that cycle? How do you stop that thought process? I talk about it a lot on my podcast, right? Because it's important. I say things over and over and over and over again because I think it's important, because I want people to remember it. And I'm old and I forget things that I say, according to Nick. And so I have to constantly repeat the same thing over and over again. No, I'm being silly now, but it is important because, right? Because when you're not thinking straight, when you are not in your mind, and you guys know what I'm talking about, right? You don't have the mental capability, you don't have the capacity to have a lot of thought process there. And so if you got things that you can get to very quickly, or something you can grab onto to help you, like Earkick the app, you can talk to Panda, you can get on VTT, the Veterans Trash Talk Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, we're all over the place, right? You can get on my Facebook page. Now, mind you, I'm 6 hours ahead, but sometimes that's good because they're sometimes bad. I don't know. But, reach out to some, but you have to do something to change that. Yes, that's very true. You have to do something to change that way of thinking process, right? And you have to change the direction of that train that's coming down the track, because you know where it's going to. And you need to be like that conductor, right? I talk about this on a video they had on your kick, that you are the control tower, and the trains are whistling by in that train tower, and you just let those thoughts go on by, and then you move on to something else. Not that there's anything wrong with those thoughts. You just don't want those thoughts taking you down a road that's going to lead you somewhere that's not going to be a good place. And you know what I'm talking about if you've been through that. And one things that I talk about, it's also with New Year's resolution. Maybe you thought maybe this is going to be the year that I'm going to get clean. Maybe this is the year that I'm going to start drinking so much. Maybe this is the year that I'm going to really put my mental health number one in my life, and that's great. And I'm super happy that you did that. But just like the doctor told me when I went in one year for my physical, and he asked me how many drinks I drink at night, and I said, I don't know what I said, probably 4, because I don't really drink a lot. That goes back to my suicide attempt in 2001. And he said, "Oh, okay." He didn't ask me to stop drinking. He didn't ask me, well, do you really need to drink? Why are you drinking? No, you know what? He simply said this. Instead of drinking 4 drinks a night, do you think maybe you could just drink 3 drinks a night? That's all he said. I was like, well, I guess so. And so I did. And then the next year when I saw him, luckily it was the same doctor, we had the same conversation. And he said, "Oh, well, He asked me how it was going. And soon what I realized is really I was drinking a lot less. And of course, I wasn't snacking as much when I drink. And so that was better for my health also. And then he said, "Well, why don't you just have 2 drinks a night?" And then he moved on. The next year, I didn't see him anymore, and so I had to stop just at 2 drinks a night because I didn't see him no more. So he didn't take me down to 1. But you guys get what I'm getting. I'm being kind of silly right now, but you get what I'm getting at, right? It's important, especially if you're a hardcore drinker. You never want to stop immediately. Doctors will tell you that because it put your body in shock. But just do something small. This is what I talked about the New Year's resolution. Take things is that's right, Brian. December's 11 months away. Take things in small steps. Don't set yourself up for failure, but take it a huge, giant leap. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. And so, a silly thing that I do, I even still do it today, is if I'm at home and I'm alone and I decide to have a drink, I have a 1 ounce glass that I measure whatever I'm drinking in, and I have no more than 4 ounces of alcohol in when I drink at night. If I'm drinking by myself, if I'm out with friends and I'm not driving, and things are different. But what I'm saying is I got in the habit of drinking, and I'm talking about Scotch or bourbon, mostly bourbon now, thanks to 10th Mountain. But I don't drink any more than 4 ounces, over a period of maybe 4 hours, 5 hours. And then once I hit that mark, then I stop and I don't drink no more. And I do that because I know mentally, if I drink too much, I'm alone by myself, especially if things aren't going well. I know where that road goes down, and so I stop myself, and I know myself about that. And so, if your goal is to drink less, maybe, or maybe if you have substance abuse problems and things like that, and of course, always consult your doctor or psychiatrist or whomever you've seen about it. Just do it in moderations. Take it down step by step by step by little. And I talked about this before. Is that if you are going down that road and you're doing really, really good, right? It's just, oh man, yeah, Cliff, I was rocking it, man. I was on it. I was rocking it. I was doing it. Man, I was doing what you said, brother. I said, hey, I was drinking 5 drinks a night, and I went down to 3 drinks, and man, I was doing good for months. I even went down, and there's a couple of weeks I didn't even drink at all, and then something bad happens, and you fall off the wagon, and in your mind, you went back a bunch of steps. And I talked about this on the podcast a couple weeks ago. Is I never look at a setback or a when you do something, when you have a, what do they call it? I just drew a blank. It's not a recession. Anyway, something don't chat. Anyway, I just lost my train of thought. But anyway, when you have a setback in your recovery, it's not really a setback. What you just found out is what your new limit is, or how to look at things differently. And so change your perspective. But to me, it gives you another perspective to look at, right? And so I know what not to do because I know it's going to cause me to do this. Yeah, go to medical detox, absolutely. And so it's very important to do that and to look at it that way, and never think that if you take a step backwards, that's fine. All you do is reevaluate and take another step forward and keep moving forward. That's all you can do. It's all you can do is keep moving forward. And keep being positive in yourself. And just like we are with season 5, you're just going to do you this year. You're just going to look at yourself. You're going to try to make yourself the best possible person you can be. And just remember, it's okay to relapse. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Mo. Relapse. Thank you very much. That was on the tip of my tongue and I couldn't get it out. So if you relapse, don't think that is a negative, think that it's a positive, because it just gives you a new starting point. Right. And now you know what not to do if you do have a relapse. And I always look in my own recovery, relapses as a positive thing, because now I've recognized what caused me to relapse. And then I can try to prevent that in the future from having me have future relapses. And sometimes, and I'm getting ready to end the show here in a minute, but sometimes relapses are caused by people in my circle of friends, or I thought was my circle of friends. And so I had to change my circle of friends because they were a lot of times were the cause of my relapses, because they themselves were not wanting to deal with their own problems and issues. And so they were trying to sabotage my recovery because then they didn't have to deal with their recovery. And so sometimes I look at it as relapse as just a new starting point, and I think that's absolutely okay. I never take that as a negative. It just means that you're continuing to grow and you're going to continue to move forward, and then eventually you're going to reach that goal that you want to reach to. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for joining me on the kickoff of season 5. Lynn will be here next week. We won't be doing the show next Monday. Chris has an appointment, and so we're going to do it on next Tuesday, January 14th. That is on Marty on January. And so next week, it won't be on Monday. It will be on Tuesday. So please join us then. Of course, I'll throw out advertisements like I always do. But along with that, I'm going to talk about the QR codes again real quick. You got the QR codes in the upper left-hand corner for Reads Across America. As I said earlier on in the program, it's for what a great program to memorialize the veterans that have went on. And, and so it's a great program. I'm happy to be part of that, along with the 10th Mountain, along with Veterans to Mortgage, along with PCS of Paradise. And also, I didn't talk about it at the beginning of the show because I forget about it. And because of my green screen, there you go. Now you can see my book. My book, Mental Health Warrior, is still available on my website. You can log on to my website. You can order it. You can get through Barnes & Noble, through Amazon, or wherever you order your great books from. But if you go through my website, I will personally sign it and mail it out to you. If you do have a speaking event, you are looking for a motivational speaker, I am booking for 2025. I will tell you that September is almost booked up now for Suicide Prevention Month. And so if you would like for me to come and speak at your organization, whether you're a veteran organization or wherever you're from, you can reach me through my website at cliffordbauman.com, and I'd be more than happy to talk with you and what you want to do for your event. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining in. Have a great and wonderful week. And please take care of yourself. And just remember this, like I always say, we are our brothers and sister keepers out there. January can be a tough month. So let's look out for each other, and let's give our veterans, brothers and sisters, a phone call just to see how they're doing and make sure everybody's okay. And with that, take care.